I keep having these dreams where cars are driving on bridges, and the bridges are literally being like collapsed before they can even get to the other side. They're just driving on their own. They're just driving on a road, and the whole bridge begins to collapse. And I've had this dream multiple times, and there's been times where either I'm in the car or I'm watching other people go through the same thing. And probably the most intense dream I had was where there was this huge bridge and everybody was falling straight down. There was no connection point. And for that one, I know for a fact that bridge, that those were believers and on their way straight to hell. Why? Because we aren't opening our mouth, because we aren't doing our job to represent Jesus the way that he has asked us to represent him. Loving unconditionally, loving unbiasedly, loving by leading. You know, people really should see Jesus in you before they experience him or before they hear you even talk about him. You know, anybody can bring that out, but at the end of the day, your actions do speak louder than words. I'll get into that at another time, but in these dreams, I kept seeing these bridges collapse, and I was like, Lord, what does that mean? And then he showed me. He said, too many people are gatekeeping. Too many people are gatekeeping instead of being the bridges that I've called them to be. And those bridges could be anything from, you know, your family with your husband, wife, your children, to the workplace, to, you know, there's some of you who God is calling to mentor, God is calling to pick up and to help teach, impart the things that you've learned. You're not doing it because you're fearful, because you are afraid of a little competition that is ridiculous. You should be helping to ignite that spark that you see. When you see somebody else and you see, wow, that person has a fire, that is the signal, hey, this is what you're supposed to be, you're supposed to be helping to start this fire, ignite this fire. What I see happening is that there's so many believers trying to move forward in the things that God has called them to do, whether it's business, whether it's family, but instead of people who they actually have connections to, being able to reach out to them and say, hey, you know, how did you get to, you know, how did you build? Those people are gatekeeping, and they're pushing those people away because they're intimidated. The other one is, I'll never forget. I'll never, ever, 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 ever forget. Don't think that just because I'm talking about a business aspect or because I'm talking about believers, or don't put it in a box. Understand, take whatever I'm saying and apply it to you. Ask yourself the question, hey, is there anywhere where I am not imparting something to somebody who's close to me, around me, or who desires to do something that I'm doing, whether it's my work, whether it's my my faith, whether it's my family. And which brings me to my next one. I'll never forget. I'm so grateful. It was like a financial seminar that was years ago, that my church had. And I'll never forget the words that my pastor said. And he said, are you equipping or are you enabling? And I'm sorry. He said, are you a builder or are you a maintainer? And in that, I mean, light bulbs went off. You know, anybody can train their family to be needy on them, but can your workplace function whether or not you are there? If they can't, you're a maintainer. If they can, you're a builder. And the one that ties into it is the one that are you equipping your family, or are you enabling your family? Can they, if you weren't around, can they function without you? Or do you have such a hold on everything and how things are run and how things are done, and there can be no other way? This is the way or the only way. It's my way or the highway. That you've crippled your family. You've frozen them to a place where if they do something wrong, they're afraid that you're gonna lose it on them. Trust me, I get it. I've been there. Never want to go back to that place. If my family cannot function without me, I've not done my job as a wife. If this team of girls that God has given me, if they can't function without me, then I will not be doing my job. God is getting me to that place, and I still struggle at times. We're all going to struggle. We're never going to reach that area of perfection. But at the end of the day, they should be able to function without you. And please understand this. When you start passing off and when you start equipping your family, don't just leave them high and dry. Well, this is all yours to figure out. I've told you a million times. No. Give them something tangible that they can work with to function, because you're the one who set them up so they can completely function with you, where they're so dependent on you, and now you just want to throw them to the side and say, well, figure it out. No, you'll be held accountable for that too. 100%, I believe that. You take the time, whatever it is that you were missing, whatever it is that you weren't taught, you learn that and then pass it on. Be gentle in the process. Imagine if I taught my son to be so dependent on me. He's 5, but imagine if I taught him to be so dependent on me that I did everything for him. I helped him get dressed every morning. I helped him tie his shoes. Let's just use that example. What if I always taught him I always tied his shoes for him? He's 15. I've always tied his shoes, and all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of tying your shoes for you. You do it. You figure it out. But I'm the one who helped enable him so that he's dependent on me to always tie his shoes. I need to sit there and teach him how to tie his shoes so he's able to continue to do it by himself. But no, just be gentle with the process and understand that the same way that you've enabled is now the same way that you've got to undo some of that work, and it's time to start equipping. It's that some of you have been holding on to your kids for way too long. Some of you have been interfering way too long. Some of you and please don't get this mistaken. The road works both ways. Some of us are comfortable being told what to do. Some of us are comfortable not having to think for ourselves. Some of us are comfortable living a life based off of what other people tell us it should look like, because it's easier. We don't have to figure anything out. We don't have to go, we don't have to experience trial and error. We have somebody to blame if things don't go the right way. It's a double-edged sword. So if you were comfortable, you need to put in your part too. And you need to decide that, hey, I was comfortable with you making all the decisions, but now I'm standing up and I'm saying, hey, I want to help